So we've got some upcoming events. We've got the Vatican Abuse Summit coming up,
Woo!
and
Sorry.
we've got a new event just happened. Cardinal McCarrick, also as you affectionately call him, Uncle Ted, uh, got defrocked. What are your thoughts on these things? Any predictions or expectations for the summit?
None.
None.
None. I say none for several reasons. Firstly, uh, Cardinal McCarrick was the ringleader of a whole band of these guys in the church.
What guys?
Um, Similarly affectionated men.
Okay.
That is to say, men who love men. That is to say, non-heterosexual personnel.
So they're like gender fluid.
Yeah, gender challenged, if you prefer.
Okay.
Gender frontiersmen, if you would like.
Frontiersmen. I like that.
Frontiersmen, gender frontiersmen. Break down all the barriers, cross their bridges with Stanley in the Congo.
Okay.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. And how do you explain the Holy Father making one of McCarrick's prime students, apt pupils, Cardinal Farrell, A, a cardinal, and B, Camerlengo of the church? Apparently, Cardinal Seepich of Chicago, another McCarrick pal, is going to be running this summit. The summit is going to be dealing purely with quote-unquote pedophilia, when the problem is not really pedophilia. The problem is active and predatory homosexuality in the highest ranks of the church.
Maybe that's something they'll discuss. Like maybe Cardinal Sarah and all the good guys are going to bring that up. Like, is that possible?
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. Let's hope. I mean, let's hope they nail him to the door. Let's hope they say no more of this. No more screwing around at the expense of Christ's faithful. That could happen. You never know. Anything could happen. What will happen, I don't know. And of course, the Holy Father's dealing with this whole thing has been so incredibly tone deaf. I mean, when we were speaking earlier, you brought up one of our favorite films, yours and mine, L.A. Confidential. And, they're saying, the top brass saying, well, we got to find a villain, we got to find heroes. And this McCarrick thing is playing like L.A. Confidential.
Absolutely. That's the first thing I thought. It's like, well, okay, so we have a problem here. We have a huge PR scandal. Okay, so we're going to need a couple villains here, a couple scapegoats to clean up the public face. But then we need some heroes, too. And so that's exactly what seems to be going on here. We're like trapped in some noir film.
And yeah, Vatican noir. I knew the Monsignor was trouble the minute he came into my office.
Oh no! Oh, no.
Yes. It's all coming clear. All right, Monsignor, sit down. What do you want? It's like this. See, I know things are going on. You understand, but it's not safe for me. I'm thinking I better blow town. Oh well. Wouldn't be the first cleric to disappear under strange circumstances. What's in it for me, Monsignor?
Oh man, that's a little too close to reality for me.
Me too, frankly. This is not a film I want to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course you've got the bitten.
The what?
I think you better help the Monsignor blow town. Hell, get out of the country. I think you're right, sister.
Oh,
Call
yeah.
Call the airstrip. We're going to get the Monsignor out on a DC-3. I I'm sorry, ladies. I gotta laugh, you know. And they don't seem to catch how bad they look. They just don't care.
You haven't mentioned your buddy yet.
Wait,
Cardinal.
I have so many.
I know you have so many now. Your buddy Cardinal Seepage is running the show at the summit. I thought.
Oh yes, he is. Woo, Cardinal Seepage. You can always, you know, when Cardinal Seepage is around because of the dark stuff crawling through the walls. But no, that's what they call seepage. Anyway.
Wow.
That wasn't that wasn't nice at all. Mm-mm. That wasn't the high ground. That was just a plain ad hominem.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's a sign that I'm getting a little bit frayed around the edges.
Could be.
But I don't think I'm the only one.
That's
I think we're in the position of wanting answers and wanting them now. And we're not going to get bupkis. Everything I do keeps turning back into noir. This is terrible. Yeah, what do you expect me to do about it, pal? I don't run the Vatican. And all I can do running this office. And another thing. If McCarrick thinks I'm helping him beat the rap on this one, he's got another thing coming. Why not? You know, I think Seepage and Farrell and a bunch of them should take a powder. You know what I'm saying? I think they should scram. They need to beat the big house. Anyway, gosh, a lifetime of watching noir is pouring over me. But it's about the only genre that fits.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, it sure isn't Unless You Come Home, I'll tell you that.
No.
It's not, ain't no Disney film, I'll tell you. No, it's not.
Not quite. Film. Not quite.
The Old Yeller or the South or something. I don't know. No, I mean,
Aren't you happy that that Cardinal McCarrick was defrocked at least? Like, that's a step up, isn't it? Because Pope Francis wasn't defrocking anybody.
Well, it is if it goes somewhere. It means something. But the guy was already retired. The guy was already not a clear and present danger anyway. Unlike Seepage, unlike Farrell, who is going to be running the church when the Holy Father is gathered to Pope heaven. I mean, the man is going to be in charge of the conclave. Crazy.
I don't like when you say Pope heaven.
What, you don't like Pope heaven?
I don't like when you say it. There's a different there's a different undercurrent going on there.
What are you talking about? Pope heaven.
Yeah.
That's where good popes go when they croak.
That's disrespectful. No? That's disrespectful, Charles.
All right, it's their eternal reward when they shuffle off this mortal coil. Is that better?
That's a little bit better. Yeah, I like that.
There you go. Go with that then. I don't mind. No skin off my nose.
So is there any chance that anything good comes out of this summit?
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance. The very thing that you suggested. I mean, if there's some sort of bizarre mutiny, and you know, it's kind of a weird scene out of Frankenstein with the peasants going up the hill carrying torches. Only they're cardinals and bishops.
I mean, I don't know how this can go a wrong direction. Like, for the youth synod, like, obviously that went in the wrong direction. But this, it's like, there's only one answer. There's only one way, it seems.
No,
right?
well, the answer, what I'm afraid of, is that they're going to jump up and down about it's all about pedophilia. And they're going to avoid the problem. The problem is sexually active and predatory elderly gay men using their position to turn the church into a casting couch like Hollywood. I mean, how is Cardinal McCarrick and whichever of his allies were doing the same thing, how are they different from Bryan Singer?
Whoa.
No, stop. Think. If the only way
they're
you
probably
can get
worse.
Anywhere,
they're probably worse, to be honest, because there's more expected from them.
Of course. And we're talking about something sacred, not bloody Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I mean, these men have turned the church into a casting couch. And they have the around and deny and deny and deny and deny and deny and deny and deny. And I'll tell you, the most charitable thing that one could possibly say about the Holy Father is that he's too stupid to catch on. I mean, what else? The only other alternative is that he's part of the deal. I got to say something here. Having written a book of the popes, a history of the popes, each and every one of them, you can imagine I thought long and hard about what would it be like being under a really evil pope. I'm not saying Pope Francis is evil. What I'm saying is, what would it be like for you personally as a Catholic? Because we've had them. And since we've had them, we know that we have had them. And since anything can happen that has happened, one could have an evil pope again. One could have a Julius III. One could have a John XII. One could have a Benedict IX. It is possible. What if we had something like the pornocracy again? And really, this thing comes across as sort of a gay version of the pornocracy. Now, mind you, it hasn't lasted 100 years, and it doesn't look like all the past popes have been, for the past 10 have been members of it. What I'm saying is, it looks very suspiciously like a sort of gay pornocracy and everything but the highest reaches in the Vatican. Now, what would it be like living under that? Ladies and gentlemen, this does not affect the truth of the Catholic faith. It doesn't affect the infallibility of the Pope. But it does affect decisions that you and I are confronted with in our everyday lives. I wish I could tell you that I had an easy answer. I don't want to think of it as being like that. I think Francis as being another Julius. But what I want and what's actually going to eventuate are often not the same things in life. I mean, it's not true in any other aspect of life. I don't see what should be true in this. So, what do Christ's faithful do when the leadership of the church is in evil hands? And it's happened before. In the old days, what happened was the emperor straightened things out. But it may not have escaped your notice, but we have no emperor.
Emperor Trump. He's got to straighten things up.
Yeah, well, maybe after he gets his two annulments figured out, I guess.
Oh, whoa.
Well, just saying.
Sad, Charles.
But,
that's sad.
I know, but that's where we are. I mean, there is no temporal government on earth that is Catholic today, except maybe Liechtenstein. There's no one to appeal to. So we are in rather uncharted waters right now. There will be a solution to the problem, absolutely no doubt. But it requires all of us to hold mutatis mutandis. It's like what our Orthodox friends are going through right now. Just as I hate having this situation with us, I really hate them having to choose between Moscow and Constantinople. Because see, this is exactly the kind of time and place where if we had someone like Benedict on the throne, he might actually be in a position to do our Eastern brethren some good. But they would no more listen to this guy than they would listen to Julie Newmar.
Okay.
I'd listen to Julie Newmar under any circumstances, but I doubt that they would.
Okay. Yeah. When you say the church is under evil people, to me, my closest frame of reference in my life would be the times when we were under Cardinal Mahoney, and the Latin Mass was relegated to the four corners of the huge archdiocese of Los Angeles,
Yep.
and the FSSP were not allowed in the diocese. We felt like outlaws. I felt like an outlaw, to be honest, and it dissuaded me from various things. It discouraged me, because there's this desire to fit in. There's this desire, we want to be, as you've said this before, you want to be in communion with the higher ups, even like regardless of what they are. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it hurts you when you feel like an outlaw.
I know. And it especially when to fit in with the higher ups, you basically have to run around and drag or something.
Exactly.
Um,
So
but these are the times that God has seen fit to place us in. I mean, the sobering thought is that these are the best times possible for you and me to save our souls.
additionally, we keep harping about the hierarchy, but I'm starting to worry about lay Catholic movements, I guess you could say, because I keep thinking of Father Ripperger's words that they're, about generational spirits, and that there are spirits attached to certain movements, and the spirit attached to the traditionalist movement is a spirit of criticism. And thinking about that more, it occurred to me that any movement by the laity is ultimately going to be doomed to fail horribly unless attached to a great amount of prayer.
Well,
It can't just be
true.
action. It has to be attached with prayer, and prayer is going to give us that virtue and all the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Because if we don't pray, it's just going to be a very, very fallen version of an idealistic movement, and it's going to degenerate into horror.
That's very true, and I mean,
yeah.
Sadly,
it's just going to be a bunch of. It's just going to be a bunch of angry, emotional people.
Which unfortunately, this is a situation that is almost guaranteed to breed.
Right.
I mean, I feel myself going a bit crazy.
Right.
I mean, who isn't feeling a bit crazy these days? And at the same time, a very important thing I think is to focus on the calendar. We're just entered the season of Septuagesima. We should be deciding what we're going to be doing for Lent. Enjoying this last glimmer of post Christmas before it goes bye bye on Mardi Gras night. We should start thinking about Lent, about the forthcoming Easter, then Corpus Christi. I mean, we need to focus to the degree that we can on the things that we can directly affect. If you know of a Corpus Christi procession in your neighborhood, attend it and help make it as grand as you possibly can. Keep your Lent as strictly as you can. Rejoice with Easter. Have a good time with Mardi Gras. I mean, honestly,
not too good of a time. Let's
jazz hands. No, but I mean, you know what I'm saying,
right?
And when you can't, when the macrocosm is too much for you, pull out of it.
Right.
And concentrate on what you've got right in front of you. Because remember, all of our ancestors that came through this sorts of rotten times, they did so by putting one foot in front of the next and by concentrating on what they could handle. Honestly, I mean, I hate to go all Tolkien-esque on you, but when Frodo says to Gandalf, "Oh, I wish I'd never lived to see such times," and Gandalf says, "So say you, so say me, so says everyone who lives to see such times." Unfortunately, we can't choose what time we're going to live in. All we can choose is what we shall do with the time that is given us. that hit me kind of hard. Hit me. One was looking at a picture of 5 friends of mine and myself at the Chronicle restaurant in Pasadena, the late lamented Chronicle. And of the 6 people present around that table, all in their late 20s, looking young and confident and ready to tackle the world, 4 are dead.
Hmm.
And the other's a CPA. That leaves me. So, no, Al's I don't. I don't mean anything about
Shots
that.
fired at accountants. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You had such animosity toward accountants as
I know. Sure. Shot fired across everyone's bow. I know. No. Seriously, but I looked at that thing, and I just thought to myself, wow, what a difference 30 years makes.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that hit me. And the other thing, it hit me this morning, apropos of nothing really. I thought to myself that rather than being a 58-year-old, somewhat hard-bitten gadabout town, I wouldn't mind once more being a 4-year-old boy waiting with his brother and his parents for his grandparents to show up, the statue of the Atlas at Rockefeller Center, so we could all go see the World's Fair in Brooklyn Meadows in 64.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot better. That'd be great. I mean, just think, I wouldn't have any troubles at all. And it would be 1964. So we've still got Latin in the Mass. Things are changing, but they've not changed tremendously yet. Kennedy's, which is unfortunate. Oh, well. LBJ's president. But there's a good chance we're going to get Goldwater in November.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow, indeed. AUH2O. Little old ladies in tennis shoes going from door to door. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. And that's not all. This is New York in the early 60s, not late rundown Mayor Lindsay, New York. This is the Big Apple. This is a great, I'm telling you, be a better idea. But then it hit me. These are precisely the kinds of choices we're never allowed to make.
Yeah.
I only got one chance to be that 4-year-old boy. And it's never going to happen again. Just as I only had that one time to be one of those lads sitting around the table. And now I'm me, as I am now. In this wonderful wonderland present day.
I'm very grateful, and it makes perfect sense why I've been placed in this time. And I think, and you have been placed in this time. Has there been any other time in history where you and I would have the ability to do this and reach thousands of people?
No.
I mean, any problems in the church several hundred years ago, we just have to sort of sit there and take it and maybe circulate some sort of newspaper or something.
Or burn a castle or something.
Is that what they did? They just burned?
Sometimes.
Okay, I guess. Okay.
Well, it's the bishop's castle. Sometimes you have to burn them down to let him know that you're not exactly happy with this administration. Burning his tithe barns was another favorite pastime. Because they collect.
Oh, right,
barn.
the barter.
The barns where they kept the tithes.
Yeah.
Because remember, you're paying. Most of us are peasants, so we pay the bishop not in cash, which none of us have, but we pay him in kind, in grain and stuff, and that gets put in the tithe barns. But we're annoyed at him because he isn't running the diocese well, so we set them afire.
People did that?
Oh yeah, they sure did.
That's terrible.
No, it's the vocation of the laity in keeping with Vatican II.
Burning tithe bars down?
It got their attention, didn't it? It's a way of saying, hi, we're here. Then, of course, there was the famous Bishop Hatto of Cologne. He, during a famine, he refused to open the tithe barns to the people because he was kind of greedy. So what happened was that he gathered all the grain that he could at a little castle on an island of the Rhine. Well, by this time, everybody was starving, and the rats had eaten just about everything on the mainland. So the rats swam over onto the island, ate every bit of grain in his granaries, and then ate him.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
That's what he said.
I'm sure.
He said, "Wow, oh my goodness." It was kind of a shock for him. But people have told stories about Bishop Hines since then. Is that he was not very popular among the survivors, and they did not greet the news of his demise with the sort of sadness that one normally feels for one's spiritual father.
Wow.
But I mean, you had bishops like that once upon a time because it doesn't change. And the devil, since you bring up Father Ripperger, the devil is always going after those in authority much more strongly than he does the rest of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I try to tell myself too when it comes to, matters of church and state where all these powerful people are just tripping over themselves. I try to tell myself, well, devil's focusing on them more than, little old me.
Yep.
I'm irrelevant.
Of course, I going back to our faux noir film.
Yeah.
All right, Monsignor, come in, but leave the demon outside.
Oh no!
Don't have room for his sword in here. But he goes everywhere with me. Yeah, I know, Monsignor, not in my office. No, but seriously, hope for the best, but expect the worst is always good advice.
Yeah, and bringing this back to the summit, I have tempered expectations. Concretely, what I would like is for them to realize that when it comes, because they've been sending these priests into psychologists and rehabilitation or whatever, or therapy, but what I want them to discover is that these people don't need therapy. They don't need a psychologist. They know what's right and wrong, and they're just choosing wrong.
What they need is one of two things. Each of them needs to be given an offer.
An offer they can't refuse?
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
If you want to stay on the church's dime, you have to go into a strict monastery and spend the rest of your life in prayer and penance. Or you could go back into the lay world on your own penny, but the church won't give you a cent.
That's a good one, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading about this one priest who was guilty of that sort of thing, but apparently he had a real change of heart. So nobody came forward. None of his victims came forward at all. I don't know why, but they didn't. And what he ended up doing was sort of defrocking himself. He wrote letters of apology to all of his victims, and he moved into a mobile home in the middle of a field somewhere, and he sits there to this penance. He said, "There's nothing, he's not worthy of exercising the ministry," and he still believes.
Yeah.
So a priest comes by and gives him communion and confession and all that, absolution. But the place he shouldn't be around other people, and particularly young people, he feels. So he basically has turned himself into a sort of hermit. And then, remember too that each of these guys is a soul into and of himself. Uncle Ted going to hell will please the devil much more than you or me.
That's true.
Uncle Ted escaping hell will really PO his satanic majesty.
Yeah.
So, we have to say a prayer and spare a hope that these guys come to their senses before they pop off.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see them out of office as quickly as possible. But I'd like to see them save their souls. I'd like to see their victims save their souls. Because, see, that's the other thing. Their victims are particularly open to the attacks of the devil. He loves destroying innocence.
Mm.
He loves that more than anything. He loves destroying innocence. And that horrible and wretched being he is.
Okay.
There's just nothing good you can say about him.
Yeah.
If ever there was a lie perpetrated on the literary public, it's the old saying, the devil is a gentleman. No. And he does everything he can to make his victims as low as he is. So.
Okay.
Well, with that happy note, that we'll see. I guess we'll reconvene after the summit.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, what I say is, we get us a third world cardinal, and we make him the hero of the piece. Yeah, that's it. That'll do. I hope it's not like that. My heartfelt desire to all of you summiteers there in the Holy See, do not take James Elroy as your mentor.
Okay.
The last thing we need is Vatican Confidential.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, God bless, and fare thee well from beautiful Trumau.